आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार, जय हिंद। A new story for my YouTube series of storytelling. Today's story is Poet and Pancakes by Asokamitran. It is a chapter from Flamingo book of class 12th English. First, let us talk about Asokamitran, the writer of this chapter. This chapter, Poet and Pancakes, is a part of Asokamitran's book which he has written, My Years with Boss, where Asokamitran has described his working experience with Gemini Studio. Gemini Studio was a famous production house of filmmaking which has given some of the very famous and hit movies. Studio was based in Chennai. It was in the post-independence era. In this book, Gemini Studio has described the working atmosphere of the Gemini Studio. In those years, 99% part of the movie was shot within studio. So what kind of makeup was applied to the actor and actresses to make them look more attractive? What kind of people acted? What was the atmosphere for the poets, for the writers? What kind of political inclinations they had? What did they think about communalism? And who were the people, the most successful and powerful people, the in charges of Gemini Studio? The owner of Gemini Studio was S.S. Vasan. There was another person, Kothamangalam Subbu Babu. He was ranked 2 after S.S. Vasan. There is a mention of a office boy. There is a mention of a lawyer. And this way we would discuss in this chapter the working atmosphere and the culture of Gemini Studio. Student, take this chapter, find this chapter not so interesting, but literature brings a various genre of writing. Literature is not only about fiction. This book is a kind of autobiography, we can say, because here in this book, Asokamitran has described his working experience, so it is a kind of autobiography. Now let us talk about the title of this chapter. The title of this chapter is Poet and Pancakes. So when we get to hear the word pancakes, we think this chapter would be about kind of chef and the bakers, but it is not. Pancakes was the name of a famous makeup material which was used to make the actresses look more attractive, to beautify the image. And some of the world famous personalities, they had used it. There is a mention of Greta Garbo, Miss Gohar and Vajanti Mala. These are the world famous. Greta Garbo was a Bollywood actress, as Miss Gohar and Vajanti Mala, Indian actress. They have also applied this makeup brand called Pancakes. This makeup brand was used in so much of quantity that this makeup brand used to come in the Gemini Studio in truck. So you can better understand that how much amount was used. Now let us talk about that makeup department. How was that makeup department? So actually the makeup department, which was a makeup department, that place was once the stable of Robert Clive. In the chapter, there is a very small mention of Robert Clive, his brief stay in India, the wars he fought, and his marriage. So this makeup department at present of Gemini Studio was once a stable where his horses used to stay. This makeup department looked more of like a salon, where there was a center in the chair and it had lights all around. That light sitting on that chair was not a pleasing experience. It was a torturous experience because there used to come light from the different corners and that emitted a lot of heat and light, and getting those blazing light on face was a very torturous experience. Now the makeup department, at a different time, different person coming from different part of the country, they were in charge of makeup department. That's why the makeup department was a very good example of national integration. It's called, a question comes with this, that why and how makeup department acted as a symbol and sign of national integration. That is only because at different point of time, different persons from the different parts of India, coming from the different community, different states, they were the in charge of makeup department. Now there was a hierarchy was maintained in makeup department because the same person did not apply makeup to the different artists. There was a different chief makeup man applied the makeup of actor and actresses. Then there was different persons to apply the makeup of junior artist. And sometime in the movie we need a crowd to be shown, and when there was a need to apply makeup to the crowd, so this work goes to office boy. Now let us know about this office boy. He is a very interesting character. He is not a boy, he is a man of 40 years, but when he joined Gemini Studio, he joined as a boy, and he had ambition of rising up in this studio and acting like a hero, main actor, and become a lyricist and directing the movie. But that never happened. He remained a boy only, office boy. So his work was to apply makeup to the crowd. And how did he apply makeup to the crowd? He put the makeup in a bucket, and he had a big brush that is used for whitewashing things, and he applied slab on the faces. Now this office boy was always a kind of trouble for Asokamitran, because the work of Asokamitran was only in the studio that he used to cut the important cuttings, newspapers from the newspaper, important articles, and he used to file those things in a file, and for him there was given a cubicle. So all other persons, including this office boy, considered his work like, what did he do? Your work is just to cut the clippings and store it in the file, so it's nothing you do. So all the time office boy and other people used to go and give him lecture. And that's why Asokamitran, he used to pray that there is a crowd shooting, so he would remain busy. Now in that Gemini Studio there was story department. Let us talk about the story department. That story department had lot of poets, writers, lyricists, and there was a lawyer also. This lawyer was a very different character from other people of Gemini Studio. The other people of Gemini Studio, they wore khaki dress and they had Gandhi cap, but this legal advisor used to come in a dress up like English persons, like a coat and a pant and with a hat, proper hat. And once this legal advisor, what did he do? Once he destroyed completely the future of a budding star. There was a new actress, and once she said something against the director and producer, which she should not say, she should not have said, and this legal advisor recorded her words and played before the director and producer. In this way, her career, before it was launched, she lost her career. And in a way, this legal advisor was called illegal advisor. This illegal advisor was very close to boss, and once he was allowed to produce a film, but the film flopped, and as a result the story department was closed. And this was the first time in history where, because a closed story department was closed, a legal advisor lost his job. This Gemini Studio provided the excellent atmosphere and condition for the writing, because it had coffee house, and in those days wine was not allowed by the Congress government. Now let us talk about the Subbu Babu. Subbu Babu was next to S.S. Basan. He was number 2 in rank, and because of his taking birth in a high class society, family, community, he had an advantage. But he was really very talented. He was a tailor-made film fraternity person, from the film fraternity person. He could act, he could direct, he could write lyricist. And when the director and other people got stuck with nothing coming out into their minds, this Subbu Babu, Kothamangalam Subbu Babu, had brilliant idea coming to his minds. So he enjoyed a really good position in Gemini Studio. This is about the people and working culture of Gemini Studio. Now in that Gemini Studio, there came some visitors from outside. There were 2 kind of visitors came. Okay, first one more part is left, that if we talk about the political interest of the people, 600 people working in Gemini Studio, so they followed Gandhian concept, and they were against communalism, because they called communalism cruel and heartless, because this communalism people do not have fellow feeling and sympathy. So this was the people of Gemini Studio. They were against communalism. Now two different kind of visitors came to Gemini Studio. One was Frank Bachman's Model Rearmament Army, MRA. Frank Bachman's Model Rearmament Army. It was a people group of 200 people which went on tour to the different parts of the country, showing their kind of plays. So Gemini Studio was a perfect kind of hosting place for the MRA. They came and they presented two plays, Jotham Valley and Forgotten Factor. The Jotham Valley and Forgotten Factor, they have used such costumes and such sets on the sets which became very popular with the South Indian people, and for a long time they had been using the same cosmetics, the same kind of sets and costumes as it was used by MRA people. The sunset and sunrise view was particularly fantastic. Their motto of coming to Gemini Studio, they were a kind of anti-communalism movement. So MRA people were involved in an anti-communalism people. Now after some time, there was a second visitor came. It was a famous English writer or editor. And since the owner of Gemini Studio, S.S. Vasan, was very much fascinated with the English culture, so he hosted that editor and the poet. He came and made a fabulous speech. He was an Englishman, he spoke an English accent, and he was very fast, really fast in his speech, so nobody could understand anything. Years passed, that visitor has gone. After long years, Asokamitran got interested in participating some kinds of quiz that was being organized from England by a famous editor of a newspaper, The Encounter. When Asokamitran really wanted to know the details about all this event, he got to know it was the same poet who came to Gemini Studio. It was Stephen Spender, the editor of the newspaper Encounter. And when Asokamitran got retired from his active job, one day he was out and he was taking a second-hand book. The name of the book was The God That Failed. This book, The God That Failed, is written by 6 eminent writers from the different parts of the world, and it's about 6 different essays. 6 different writers has written. Their names was Andre Gide, Richard Anthony Ignacio Siloni, and Arthur Koester, and Stephen Spender, and Louis Fisher. So these 6 writers from the different parts of the world have written their journey into communalism and their disillusion back. This book, The Name of the God, was written by 6 famous writers from the different parts of the world, and it was their journey into communalism and their disillusion returned back. And Stephen Spender was one of the writers whose essay was there in the book, The Name of the God. So this is the book. I don't think that I have left any part from this chapter, and all part I have included, and my narrative, my storytelling is a complete text in itself. Jai Hind, and all the very best for your exam. Jai Hind.